Hello, hello, hello. Well, that was quite loud, wasn't it? Sorry, hello. Sorry for everybody's listening to this through headphones. Many apologies. It's the Shot at an Angle show, and usually I'd be live, but this week I am doing it as a pre-recorded show. As I'm going away, if you can believe that, I'm actually going to leave the confines of Oxford. Let me get myself on the screen. I'm leaving the confines of Oxford to discover whether there is actually a world outside of Oxford. It's been a while since I've actually been away and staying somewhere. So I'm pre-recording this. It's going to go live at the hopefully, if I get my scheduling right, it'll go live at the normal time. But I wanted to still produce the show this week, so it gives you something to think about for the coming weeks. Now, what is this show? Well, I'm William Mankelo. I'm the host of the Shot at an Angle show, which is usually live here on Shot at an Angle page, 7 p.m. GMT every week. Talk about creativity. It's quite eclectic sometimes, so I talk about different subjects, but it's all around the creative photography idea. Yes, pretty much it. It's also a very understanding place. I'd love to hear from you with what you've been doing with your photography. More importantly, where are you watching this right now? What time is it? And what was the last flavour of ice cream you ate? So I told you it was eclectic. Yeah, like I said, so every Wednesday I'm usually here live on Facebook. So today's topic, I like to go through these pretty quickly. The show's normally around about 20 minutes long, so keep that in mind. You can probably skip forward to parts of the show if you want to listen to the topic, but I'm going to go straight into the topic, today's topic, and that is basically the benefits of photography tuition, and almost whether or not it's something you need to even consider yourself. So, let's just face the question, what is photography tuition in the first place? So, it's whether you can have it as a one-to-one tutor, somebody who will actually help you and you alone, and you'd be working alongside them, or maybe even you've considered going to a workshop or a meetup and something like that, where you get involved in a group and it becomes more of a group activity. One of the key benefits of photography tuition really is, get myself back on the screen, is how it allows you to incrementally improve your photos. So you can teach yourself a lot about photography, but it's only from your own perspective. It's almost that when you have somebody to tutor you, they'll have a high level of expertise than you do, or a lot more knowledge of the subject, especially when it comes to experience with different types of photography, and that would help you incrementally improve your photos. You might see overnight, you might feel you've made a vast improvement, but it's definitely an incremental thing, an incremental improvement in your photography. It helps you see your photography from a different perspective, especially when it comes to critiquing your images. Tutors definitely and teachers generally look at your photography in a different way, in a less emotional way, and in a more critical sense, and can give you really direct feedback on where they think you can improve your photography in an artistic way, in how you deliver it, and your method. So that it gives you a very different perspective. It helps you better understand the fundamentals of photography, which is, I think, is pretty fundamental. That if you can understand the fundamentals, there's a bit of a double word there. It's almost like fundamentally, it will help you understand the fundamentals of photography. Understanding the real fundamentals of photography, the different rules, and also the controls in your camera really can push your photography onto another level, but it just means it gives you a bigger bag of tricks to expand your photography archive or portfolio, or whatever you want to call it, and it may also make you more confident about your photography, because you're really beginning to grasp and understand the subject as a whole. It's a huge subject, but at the same time it's also extraordinarily accessible. Photography, I think, is one of the most accessible creative forms there is out there, even beyond singing, because singing itself is pretty straightforward, or can be for most people. I'm painting a wide brush here. So if I go back to what I said about what is tuition, you can have basic two types of tuition. You have one-to-one and in groups. One-to-one can be very powerful because, especially if you find the right teacher. I remember when I was learning to drive, the first teacher I found we just didn't get on. We didn't somehow click in place. And you might think that's not important, that really the information that they're giving you is the same. I think you really do need to click with your teacher well, and in that sense of like not be friends with them necessarily or get on with them that way, but you can understand what they're saying and you can understand the direction they're taking you. It's more of a trust thing going on there. It can be very powerful one-to-one teaching because of course you get that time with them and for you and you alone. It's often a little bit more expensive than group activities, but it all depends on what you specifically would like to do and how you would like to move your photography forward. In groups, there's also a power in groups, of course, because even though you don't get so much time with the teacher, you have a group of people, like-minded people around you, generally speaking, and especially when the groups are ran in a good way, in a supportive way, that this is what I generally tend to do when I run groups, is that, to say that I'm the teacher, I'm going to run this, I'm going to dictate which direction we're going to go. But I also say that you're all talking, you'll all have different methods, you'll all have different levels of learning, or can do at least, have different experiences. Share it amongst yourself and really, really share each other's experiences and with photography, and that in itself can be really powerful and help you progress as a photographer. So, there are benefits, I think, of photography tuition. Now, let's look at the other side of this. Feel free to get in touch with me, by the way, because I do one-to-one tuition, and I do actually run photography meetups as well myself. So this is a semi-plug for what I do, but I also just wanted to talk about this and have it open out there as well. In fact, I'm running an architectural photography meetup on the 4th of July in Oxford. I'll put a link in the description so you can go and check that out if you'd like to. But let's look at the other side of tuition, the benefits of photography tuition, and whether or not it really is for you. I think there is. I myself have had not huge amounts of tuition. I've learned on the fly. I've learned as I've gone. I've been photographing for over 10 years. I've had a camera. I've been photographing for pretty much my whole adult life, really. In some way, shape or form, I've had a camera. So every single photograph I take, I try to learn from it. You can learn from every photograph you take. You just need to understand how you can learn, which is where tuition does come in, can help. But you may not need it. You may not need it either at all. You might just think to yourself, well, actually, I'm going to do what you did, William, and just learn myself, which is fair enough. Enjoy yourself, enjoy it. I'd love to see your photos. I'd love to see what you do. Please share them with me however you see fit. My email address is really accessible. My Facebook page is accessible. Message me. I'd love to see what you've got. Start a conversation about photography, because I always would like to talk about photography. But you can also consider maybe just doing it as a one-off, and that's something I've done myself. I've had one-off lessons, and they have really helped me push my photography to improvement, and we'll go back to the whole idea of incremental improvements. So there you go. It does seem like a bit of a sales pitch in some ways. It's not meant to be. I just want to talk about the benefits of photography tuition, and also the other side of it, where it's almost like that you probably have asked yourself this question in the past, especially if you're really into your photography like I am. Do I need tuition, etc. But yeah, I'm here every week on Facebook as a live show. So even if you can't find my contact details, you know where to find me if you ever want to talk about it at all. Yes, do get in touch. That's this week's topic. It's a bit of a different topic from last week. It's almost like one of those things where it just occurred to me that I'd just love to talk about this specific topic. Now, there is a topic you'd like me to discuss Ask, you've got a question to ask or a topic you'd like me to discuss, put in the comments below, or you can email me, or you can drop me a message. I will give you my email address, which is william@shot@anangle.co.uk, shot@anangle.co.uk, so you can send me your question in. And if you do send that in, I will endeavour to discuss it in the next show. There you go. Now, for those of you, especially long-term viewers, there is a way you can actually back this show, or you can support this show, and that is through buying me a coffee. So if you go to buymeacoffee.com/William Mankelo, there are 2 levels of support currently. I'm going to be expanding on those soon, so you can support me as a membership, as a monthly fee, including if you go for the £5 a month, you get exclusive Q&A sessions where you'll be able to talk to me directly and ask me anything. Well, I say anything, but you know what I mean. Or you can support me as a one-off, where you can buy me 1, 3 or 5 coffees. I know at least one person who's bought me 5 coffees. And as it says here, and I promise if we ever meet face to face, I'll buy you a real coffee or whatever your beverage is. But that's the way you can support this show. And the funds for this will go towards into the show itself. I'm currently looking for alternative premises, because I'm actually recording this at home. Looking for alternative premises to do this show, and that's where some of these funds will go to, is to actually hire out a venue at the moment, or hire out a place that I can use. At the moment in Oxford, I'm finding it very tricky to find a place that I can do this. I've been in touch with several locations, but I've not found a place that has been able to help me. Some of it's down to COVID rules, and COVID rules, but also suitability. And one place I'd contacted, which sounded absolutely brilliant, had recently lost their space, had recently lost their studio space. They were themselves looking for studio space. So we were basically wishing each other the best for our search. But that's what the money will go towards. So yeah, I'll just quickly talk about I probably should have said this right at the start. The format of the show generally is an introduction, and we have the topic. Then we go into the challenge. So every week I give a challenge that you can take away with you and do whatever you want with. You could print it out and throw it in the bin if you wanted to. I don't know. It sounded good in my head. Yeah, this week's challenge is the 1 lens challenge. And basically what I'm doing here is saying is that for those of you especially who have more than 1 lens, it's really tempting to take all the equipment out with you. So the 1 lens challenge is, next time you head out to do some photographs, just take 1 lens with you. And when you think about that might sound quite daunting. I actually threw this challenge at a pupil, which is a workshop attendee I had, and they said, I said, well, you're going away. They were going away to a very, very beautiful place. I won't mention it because they might be watching the show and they probably don't want to be highlighted. Anyway, I said, we'll take 1 lens with you, and because it'll really challenge you as a photographer. And they had a prime 50mm lens, and I said, take that with you. And in the end, they resisted. They didn't, because they felt it would be too constrictive. What you'll find is that if you have 1 lens, especially if you have a prime lens, it really does challenge you as a photographer, and it makes you move a lot more. And when you move a lot more, it gives you a lot more scope on what you're taking, and it changes your mindset into not relying on your lenses to take photographs. It actually challenges you creatively. One of my favourite quotes as a photographer, an American photographer I think he is, or was I should say, Ernest Haas, I think that's how you pronounce his name, said the best zoom lens is your legs. And I think that's a great way of finishing off what this challenge is. So thank you very much for watching this pre-recorded version of the show. I will be back next week live. Like I said, the show is on every week, Wednesday, 7 p.m. GMT. And next week I'm going to be talking about archival photography and how you can capture now for later. I'm going to give you some hints and tips on how to do that. But yeah, that's this week's show. I haven't been keeping track of how long I've been recording, but I know I have been recording. Well, at least I hope I have. I have been recording for 15 minutes. Now, normally this is about a 20-minute show, but I'm not going to waffle on for another 5 minutes. I will leave it at that. Yeah, next week's show is going to be about archival photography, capture now for later. It'll be on the 30th of June. Just check my calendar. 30th of June, 7 p.m. GMT. And if you missed the live show, if you go on to facebook.com/shot@an-angle/videos, you can look at the whole archive. And the archive is actually stretches right back to June last year, because I've been doing this show, if you can quite believe it, I've been doing this show for over a year now. I can't quite believe that. So you can go back, and there's lots of different subjects there. But I shall leave it at that. Have a good week, and I shall see you next week live.